never really along that way thought about science communication. You just want to be out amongst the wildlife, basically. You never really. At what point did you start thinking about a science communication type of career track?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted to make a difference, right? I always felt like safari guides made a difference because they connected people to animals and they inspired passion. And I felt like as a biologist, being an academic, even though I was low down, I was still making a little bit of a difference. I was contributing to papers and I was tagging snakes and, I was still making a difference. But there was a very specific point at which I made the decision to make that switch. At no point did I think about media. I didn't know about TV. I thought Discovery Channel made Discovery Channel shows, and like those were rock stars that nobody would ever talk to, like right. A whole different world. And what happened was I came back one day. I had a 3-week contract doing habitat restoration on the California Channel Islands. I was living at the research station out in Santa Cruz, middle of summer, boiling hot in a hazmat suit all day long. Can't remember if that one was weeds or ants or mice or what it was, but it was one of the shitty jobs that I'd taken because I was always bidding on these contracts and taking all the worst ones that nobody wanted because I was like, I don't care. And I came back and I was just covered in sweat and dirt and exhausted. I'd been living in a sleeping bag doing this tech work out at the islands, and I plopped down on the couch, and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she's flipping through the channels, and this stupid survival show comes on TV called Naked and Afraid, right? And it's this
right.
It's this show where people get naked and see if they can survive. Nowadays, it's like a big drama, but in the first couple seasons, it was very much so about the survival element.
It was raw, like it was
really
tough.
raw.
Yeah.
And so I was on the I was the I think it was the first one of season 2, maybe it was the end of season 1. I don't even remember. But long story short, I plop down on the couch, I start watching these things. And my wife's flipping, and she goes, I've seen you do all this crap just for fun, just to catch a rattlesnake, just to go out and stay out and see condors or whatever it is. She's like, you can do all this stuff better than these people. So I sent in this cocky email to the production company. I waited till the end credits rolled. I saw the title of a production company. I sent in this cocky email going, this is nonsense. Like, these people suck, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that bad. But I sent in this cocky email. 10 days later, I'm on a plane to Panama. I'm dumped in the jungles butt naked, and I do the survival show. Now, I don't have a hard time at all. I enjoy it. I gorge myself on oysters. I dig up hundreds of pounds of yucca like jungle potatoes. Literally, I have a blast. And it's all because I'm the nerd that used to read field guides, right? And still did. And that, by the way, big lesson here. If you're a good biologist, you're a great survivalist. Because if you understand the environment and the ecology, you can survive anywhere. So I was just thriving on this show. I get back, go back to normal work, right? Just go back to regular, being on the islands, being up in the ranches, never think about science communication. I did this as a vacation. 9 months, 10 months later, the show comes out. It's a big hit. I'm a big hit. And it's all very exciting. Now, that moment that you were asking about, or that moment that I was going to reference, Dave, when I had been a tech, or I think it was actually towards the end of my undergrad, I contributed to a scientific paper that was published, okay? It took like a year and a half. I'd done basically all the field work for it. I can't remember if I was a co-author. I don't even remember anymore. But I remember it was a big deal, Sam Sweet. It got 400 reads, okay? And that was like a good number, 400 reads, right? Now, that was 400 reads by like-minded scientists who already knew the subject matter. The night that stupid-ass naked TV show came out, 4 million people watched me running around the jungle catching snakes and picking up lobsters, okay? And I was like, wait a minute. I think I know where I can do a little bit more damage here.
Right.
And that was literally the very next day when I looked at the ratings, I called my boss. I told him that I've loved working for you. I'll still do supervising for you if you need. I'll still do contracting, but like I'm done. I told my wife, like, this is what I want to do. I want to figure out how to not be naked on TV, but talk about animals and wildlife on TV. The naked on TV was another route. Yeah,
it's a good strategy.
Yeah. And it sucked for a long time. It took years living on my wife's part-time teacher salary for years, not figuring it out, blundering every step of the way. But finally stuff started to click. And that was, it was those few years, those 3 or 4 years where I gave it all my focus that I figured out what TV was, how it was made, who pitched it, how you created it, what a cameraman does, what a sound guy does, why you have to have insurance, like all the crap that you never think of. And yeah, that was really how it started.
So you kind of figured it out on your own, like through trial and error, just like, I'm going to pitch a show. Okay, that pitch wasn't good. And then somebody tells you, do it this way. Okay. And it just continued to do that. Then you figure out the whole insurance and liability aspect of it all. And so it took you a while to figure out, did you have any like mentors or people to kind of rely on as you went through that?
Yeah. I did figure it out on my own, but that was only like the beginning stepping stones. And so what I did is I saw what TV pitches look like, and I started making them. And oh my God, when I look back at those old ones, I'm sure you guys know that feeling. Like you look back at something you published or something you created 15 years ago.
My first couple of podcasts, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I'm so embarrassed this ever went out. And I look back at those original pitches, and I'm just like, I hang my head. Like, I'm surprised I haven't just thrown my computer against the wall. But, I created them myself. I copied them. And I went around to, like, every single production company in LA, and I got no everywhere I went. You're a nobody. This is nothing. What a waste of time. You're not proven, blah, 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 blah. And eventually, after totally giving up on Los Angeles, I flew to New York, and literally the second production company I walked into, I sat down with the guy who's now my business partner. His name was Eric Evangelista. Dave's had several conversations with him. Very, very smart guy. And I pitched him a show, which wasn't Extinct or Alive, but it was a version of it. And he basically was like, "Yep, let's do it. Get out of my office." And I was like, "Okay." And I couldn't even believe
that at all.
Yeah, totally. And I was like, "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye." And I like ran out of his office and called my wife. But he became a mentor to me. I partnered with another guy named Patrick DeLuca, who's also a producer, but they weren't wildlife people.
Right.
And so the choice that I made, and part of it was certainly by luck, was not to find more guys like you, Dave and Andrew, who know the same stuff I know, and know it a lot better than I do, but to find guys like Eric and Patrick who knew TV and knew production and knew show running and field producing and all these things. Because I could bring the wildlife knowledge, whether it was academically trained from experience in the field or just from studying, I could bring that knowledge. And so it was like, how do I find people that can mentor me and I can partner with that have the other side of the coin figured out? And that's how it sort of started to evolve. And it was very slow, and I made a ton of mistakes, but eventually it started to click.
I think a key thing, just for people to understand, like just the persistence, and that's something whether you're pursuing the career you did, or you're pursuing an academic or a research career, whatever you pursue, it's that persistence that's going to get you there. Whatever it is, it's not like, if you'd have given up after the first couple of people slammed the door in your face in LA, it'd have been probably back like looking at ants or something on Santa Cruz Island or something. So,
and you know that, Dave, better than anybody. It's the same as looking for lost animals, right? Or lost sharks or creatures that haven't been seen in a long time. If it was easy, they wouldn't be lost, right? If it was easy to do it, everybody would be doing it. Right. And so that persistence, for me, that's always just been a part of my nature. Like, I don't mind taking a no. You can tell me to fuck off, and I'll still smile at you and tell you that I like you, And that's never bugged me. I don't mind rejection. In fact, I like to take rejection and try and learn from it. And I think a lot of people don't feel that way. They take rejection very personally. And I just don't. It's like, okay, if I did it wrong, tell me what I did wrong so I can do it better next time. And that learning from that rejection, that learning from that persistence, I've made mistakes on Extinct or Alive. I made mistakes in every aspect of my life, just like most people. But I try and take those experiences and persist through those mistakes to then improve. And it's funny because if I watch my TV shows, you just see like how far it's come just by trying to learn each time I do one and make things better. And not just as a presenter, but as producers and as cameramen and everything else. It just continues to get better because it's just part of the trade.
You're producing now, aren't you? Doing the production side of things as well.
I am. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
Yeah. So my Eric and I.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Eric and I. We created a company called Fantasticus Pictures, which was named after the tortoise that we found, the lost tortoise. Mm-hmm. And it's the only production company that I'm aware of that is actively funding conservation work in exchange for access. And so what we do is we find somebody like you, Dave, and this is all new. We've only been doing this for about a year and a half, but we've been successful so far. But we'll find somebody like you, Dave, and say, hey, Dave, you want to go find lost sharks. Okay, let us fund that work. We'll put you on the plane. We'll pay you a salary. We'll fund all that work that obviously costs a lot in exchange for coming along and filming you and having access to that. And we do that as long as the network, whoever it happens to be, Discovery, Animal Planet, Nat Geo, BBC, you name it, goes, yeah, that's something we want to put on TV. So they pay us, as a production company, and then we have a line item, which is basically just paying for the conservation work. And we've done some huge projects. We moved 14 elephants earlier last year.
Wow.
And we've done some huge projects, and it's all been done instead of basically profiting by paying that money that we would have profited into the conservation work, which is so rewarding and so much fun because I get to tag along with people like you, Dave, and all these other incredible scientists and get to go and do the thing that I love, but have real experts doing it. And it's been very successful so far.
Yeah,